So what kind of SUV do you buy when the standard ones are too big for your garage, too big for the parking lot, too big for generally everything? You buy one of these right here. This is the 2024 Toyota Corolla Cross. This is the non-hybrid version. This is the full gas version. And you can see already it is a very small SUV, and it's going to compete very well in that sub-compact market. It's got a great price point, and it's got some nice features. So I'm going to show you the interior, the exterior, and literally everything there is to know, and then we're going to take it on a test drive. Let's get started. So as usual, up first, we're taking a look at the engine. We have a 2-liter inline 4-cylinder engine that is going to give us 169 horsepower, 151 pound-feet of torque. Now, it's definitely not a speed demon, and it's definitely not built to be a speed demon, but if we want to compare something like the Buick Envista that only has 130 horsepower, you already get a little bit more power and relatively around the same space, so that is nice too. Now, it's also the all-wheel drive trim, and it has the CVT. So this is the Corolla Cross LE all-wheel drive with the premium package. Now, the premium package gives us 18-inch alloy wheels, a powered moonroof and we also get some roof rails as well. So not a bad little package to add on. I like the fact that we get all-wheel drive. That's kind of important for places that get winter. So next up, as usual, we move on to the front for the Toyota Corolla Cross. You can see we got nice daytime LEDs. It literally looks close to the Toyota RAV4. I almost want to call it the smaller Toyota RAV4, and that's good because those things are getting bigger. You really want to keep it compact. Boom, you have this. There's no parking sensors in the front, anything like that. This is kind of like the cost-saving addition for the Corolla Cross, so it's completely fine that that's not there either. I like it though. It's aggressive. It looks like very Toyota-ish, but also very modern at the same time. I don't feel like this looks dated just yet, so that's also very fantastic. I like the look of it. I also like the paint color. Very nice. So next we move to the side for the Toyota Corolla Cross. You can see here just how compact it is. You also get a good shot of our roof rails as well as our 18-inch alloy wheels. We do have keyless entry, which is very nice to have. It is a sensor, so that may vary in the winter, but right now we're almost in the summer, so quite warm, no problem there. I like the turn signal LEDs. Again, paint color very nice, very easy to get in and get out of. You can see that it's not a very high ride height at all. It's just very simple, but I like it. It's gonna fit in pretty much any space you need to fit it in. And you can see my tires look fantastic because I do have some nice tire shine on them. You can really shine the Corolla Cross up, and it does look pretty good, pretty modern. I'm a fan of the side too. So last but of course not least, we moved to the back of the Corolla Cross. I kind of kept it in the dark so you can maybe see the tail light LEDs here. Very nice, very iconic, I want to say. A lot of the, the traffic that you see on the road does look like this, especially when it is a Toyota, which again isn't a bad thing. I've got a nice rear wiper here, perfectly fine. You can see the exhaust, which is nice, which most vehicles don't even do. I do have a rear camera as well. Again, no parking sensors for the rear, but we are going cost saving, and that's what you need. So let's check out the trunk space that we have. Like I like to say, or like I've told most people, it's not automatic, but that's completely fine. Again, cost saving, which is good. I like to tell most people that you kind of have to trade. You're either going to get a really good amount of rear space or you're going to get a really good amount of trunk space. Toyota here has gone with the trunk space. You can see I have this privacy screen that's going to pull out right here. It's fantastic. I've got a spare tire under the floor, and I've got 2 pockets on the side here. You fold the seats down here, you're going to have an absolute ton of room. But again, a little bit less rear space, a little bit more trunk space, but it's completely fine. This is a surprising amount of trunk space. So that's going to do it for the exterior tour for the Corolla Cross. Let's hop in, see what that's got. I'm going to talk to you about the rear space in the rear, and then we're going to hop up front. And then, of course, the test drive's coming right up. Okay, so next up, as usual, we have the rear seat for the Toyota Corolla Cross. So yeah, it's on the tight side. It definitely is on the compact side. I can definitely feel how small it is, but again, you don't want all that crazy space of an SUV, so this is a good trade-off. Now, let's see what we've got here. My knees are just pushing against the driver's seat. This is my driver profile. I am 5'11". I do have good headroom. There's like a little cutout where the trunk kind of starts here, and that kind of gives me a lot of headroom, so that's nice. I've got plenty of feet room underneath, so that doesn't feel cramped. It's not hard to get in, which something like the Mazda CX-30 was extremely difficult to get into. This is easy to slip in the back, so that's nice. I've got some vents here. I've got 2 USB charge ports back here. I've got a cup holder in the door, which is interesting, and then I also don't have any kind of fold down cup holder, so that is kind of the replacement there. A little bit of pocket storage for the passenger there. And yeah, the seats are cloth. If you want leather, you kind of got to go up and trim, but so we're trying to cost save. So for what it is, plenty comfortable. The cloth is no problem. Yeah, it's not terrible, but you don't have as much room as, of course, you would get from a normal size SUV, or even some of the other compact competitions has just a little bit more room, making just that much more comfortable. So just keep that in mind. It is on the compact side for the rear of the Toyota Corolla Cross. Let me hop up front. There's a couple of things to go over up there. Let's check it out. All right, so now up front in the Toyota Corolla Cross, where I have a ton of room. This is probably the best seat in the house for the car because, yeah, it's just pretty comfortable. Again, cloth seats. You have to go up for the leather, but we're gonna look at this fully as a cost-saving option. So let's start off with the steering wheel. Once again, Toyota with the steering wheel. Again, love the feel of it, love the leather stitching on it, very good. We've got some basic buttons to control our little digital gauge cluster there in the middle, where we have very dated analog cluster there, but it's okay, because again, we are saving money, and that is the goal here. So on my right-hand side, I have the cruise control options. I have the Toyota Sense kind of assisted driving, where it brakes for you, and we do have adaptive cruise control and stuff like that, which is very nice. I have my media controls here as well. I do also have heated steering, but that is a separate button just down below here. The buttons are like largely labeled and very easy to understand. So if you're like, maybe if your vision's going, you're a little bit older and you want something easy to see, the Cross has you covered there as well. So let me talk a little bit about this digital gauge cluster that I have right here. It basically shows me, you know, how fuel efficient I am, different things like that, the eco indicator and stuff like that. And I can see the music. I've got a couple of different screens here. It's going to show you trip distance, and then I can control some of the driver assist settings from this little gauge cluster. Now let's move on to the infotainment display. I do have wireless CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, as well as wired for both, which was a surprising thing to see. I thought maybe at this trim level we would only have wired, but we don't. Toyota have you know, given us the wireless option, which for some people will be fantastic. I also have built-in navigation, which again is a surprise to see at this trim level, and then it's really basic to use. Now I found the infotainment system on the Sienna a little dated, looked a little older than it should, but and I'm saying Sienna because it's the only Toyota infotainment that I have to reference to, but this one is very updated, looks very clean, very modern, very easy to understand. There's not a lot to it. There's not a lot of settings, not a lot of things to go through, but like I said, I have built-in navigation, which is crazy. I've got some vehicle settings, Bluetooth devices, stuff like that. You can have saved driver profiles if you want to adjust different types of settings. I've got a media controller, stuff like that. I've got trim information for the vehicle. It tells you how fuel efficient you're being, when you're using, when you're not. Very good. I don't mind it. It's exactly what you would need it for, and really all I use it for is Apple CarPlay, and it's perfectly good quality for that too. Then we move a little bit lower. I have single zone automatic climate control. Again, they could have just put a normal climate and that's it, no automatic stuff, but we have automatic climate control, which is very nice. All the buttons are easily laid out. I also have a eco heat and cool, so that means I can turn this on. It'll kind of tone things down, but also save you some fuel, which is nice, which never hurts, right? And then I have these like switches that are for high and low heated seats. The driver and passenger both have heated seats, which is very nice. Then just below this part of the premium package, I have a wireless charger. Really good to see that. Classic shifter, we saw it on the Sienna. There's nothing really to go over there. It's, you know, if you've driven a car before, you've probably seen one of these things, but it's simple. 2 cup holders, a little bit of storage here in the armrest. The armrest is nice and clothed out, so it's very comfortable as well. I don't mind it. Overall, the interior is very, very basic. I've got a powered sunroof, but it's a lot of basic materials. It's a lot of, like, you know, black and a little bit of silver. It's exactly what you'd expect if you're just in the market for a compact SUV that has a lot of the basic necessities but doesn't go overboard. That's exactly what this interior is, and you can't hate it on it for that, because it is in a very, very competitive price point, especially for today's market. So that's going to do it for the interior tour. Now I've shown you the interior, the exterior. It's time to take it on a drive. Let's see what it's got. All right, so now we are driving on the road with the 2024 Toyota Corolla Cross. And, you know, it is very compact. I showed you that on the exterior. I mean, I definitely showed you that on the interior too. But the good news is it doesn't really drive like that. I don't find myself being like, man, I wish I was bigger. You know, I don't. Because I could kind of get by with the space that I have here, and it doesn't really drive small, which is nice. It drives like a normal full-size SUV. Maybe it'll drive like a RAV4 with a little bit less power, right? And, like, you know, performance isn't something you even want to get out of an SUV like this. It's not even something you care for. And if you do, I don't know why you're buying this one, because you're not going to get anything. 169 horsepower, though, does beat things like the Buick Envista, and the fact that we have all-wheel drive available is fantastic. I think that's really going to be a key player in the markets for people that actually have winter. There it is. Spit it out. Jeez. Have winter. If you have winter or like bad weather at all, then you definitely want to have something all-wheel drive, small or big. You don't want to be stuck with nothing. I think it's super important that Toyota has given us a platform that is small, but also has all-wheel drive. It kind of covers both aspects. So this in the winter, I think, would be fantastic. Steering feel is, decent enough. I mean, you can definitely feel nothing from it, but that's kind of the goal. Again, it's very much you're not looking for performance. I'm not looking for a stiff steering, like, oh, I felt every bump. I'm not even looking for that through the steering wheel. It's very easy to whip around in parking lots, which is so that the loose steering does help there. And I mean, a lot of the times in parking lots and grocery store parking lots and any kind of parking lot is where the Corolla Cross is probably going to frequent quite a lot. Definitely not the track. And if you do, that'd probably be a good video, actually. So, send me the link, but I doubt it. And then that's, again, where it's going to shine, because it is hitting a very competitive price point, but the market that it's in is also quite competitive in the fact that, we're competing with things like the Hyundai Kona. Obviously not in the top trim of any of it, but Hyundai Kona, we're competing things like this with the Chevrolet Trax, with the Buick Envista, maybe even with the Buick Encore, the Encore GX, whatever it is. The Buick names confuse me all the time, but we're competing in a segment that is full of compact, SUVs. Toyota's been doing it forever, I'm pretty sure. So has the other competition. And I think that feature-wise, I haven't driven any of the ones that are in the lower trims. Toyota is the only one confident enough to give us cars that are not fully loaded. They have a couple of nice things. It's definitely not the base model, but definitely the Corolla Cross goes up from here in price and in features, and Toyota is confident enough in their platform to give it to me at not, whereas the other brands I've had it only in the ultimate platforms and stuff like that. So that is a big plus. I think that just based off features in the other ones, it's perfectly positioned to be a preference thing. If you like the look better of the Kona, you might get the Kona, but if you like the look better of the Corolla Cross, you might do that. If you want the reliability of Toyota, you're definitely going to be going with the Cross, because the reliability is absolutely fantastic. So also, ride quality is pretty good. I'm driving on some back roads right now that do have a bit of bumps, but honestly, I don't mind it. And this is a crazy statement. This is something that I didn't think I would say, but I've driven the Mazda CX-50 Meridian. Very nice car, fully loaded, plenty fast. Okay, not bad ride quality, but this is better. The Meridian was rough for what it was. Maybe because it was more geared towards the off-road stuff, but the Meridian was rough. This is very nice. This is very, very easy to get used to, and it's really, really good. I like the suspension on this thing. I think I even like the suspension on this Sienna. Toyota has pretty decent suspension when it comes, I think, to, just across the board. I like it. I'm very comfortable with these cloth seats. You don't need the leather seats. You don't need ventilation. So yeah, I think overall, the Toyota is really meant for people who don't want the massive size of a RAV4, or you just don't want a big SUV in general, but you want an SUV. And I think it fits right in there, and it does compete with all of its competitors. It does compete well, but it is such a it's not a one-off in the market. They're not the only ones doing this by far, and that kind of does hurt them, because guys like Hyundai are coming out with a lot of features in the lower end and stuff like that maybe Toyota doesn't want to give, but like I said before, that Toyota reliability does count for a lot. Everybody I've spoken to that owns a Toyota said that the reliability is very good. So I'm going to throw it to you, the audience. If you've owned a Toyota at all, doesn't matter what, or especially if you own the Toyota Corolla Cross, let me know. I want to know, what's the reliability like? How long have you had the car? Have you had any engine issues, anything like that? Has it broken down on you? Has it, have you been in the shop more than you'd like? Tell us, because that's the only thing I can't evaluate. So I'm sure the Corolla Cross does that too, and to couple with the fact that it's very affordable. It's in the $34,000, $32,000 range. You kind of can't go wrong, and you kind of can't ask for much more, especially in today's climate. Everything's getting more expensive, so to see things stay relatively affordable and have the basic necessities when it comes to features that at least I want in a car, it's hard to complain about it. So yeah, that's got to do it for the Toyota Corolla Cross. It's pretty small. It's pretty compact in the rear. That's probably my biggest complaint. It's I've got no space back there, and for me, it just doesn't work. But for others, it probably will. And I saw a comment the other day, oh, the reviews are very positive, but like, it's hard to make something up that's negative. That's unfair to do. So that's my address to that. So if you think I'm too positive, I don't care because I have to be. I mean, first of all, I have to be positive. I have to find the negative and the good. And sometimes in some vehicles, there is more bad than there is good. And I try to point it out. But usually, especially nowadays, you don't really find a bad car. Maybe if I review like a VinFast or something, it won't be good. And then I can really bring out the hate on it. But I mean, 9 times out of 10, there's not really that much bad going on with the cars anymore because companies have gotten better and smarter and stuff like that. But yeah. When it's an affordable vehicle, a cost-saving vehicle, really hard to complain about it. But I'll leave that rant right there. With that being said, I will see you in the next week, see you in the next car. Make sure you like, subscribe, and do everything else to support the channel. Take care.